Ish. Okay, I think I'm live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to our live seminar. Today we'll be talking about the 5-day shoemaking course. I'm just gonna give it a couple more minutes to let people join, and if there's anyone in the chat, can you just let me know if you can hear me okay? Just gonna work this out. Just give me 2 moments. I'm just gonna do a little sound check, a little live check. Just let me know if you can hear me and if there's any sort of lag. And we'll give it a couple minutes. We'll let some people join, and then we'll get started. I've got Ish checking the audio as well. Also, if there's any regular viewers on our live stream, every Thursday we actually do a shoemaking live stream where it's kind of like we just hang out and we share our latest projects. Right now we're working on the London Sneaker School shoe, and we kind of just like work on it and just talk about the sneaker industry, what we've seen that week. So yeah, if there's anyone that is usually in the Just Make It live streams that we do every Thursday, give me a heads up in the chat as well. All right, cool. So you guys are saying it's all clear. Okay, that's good. All right, let's just give it one more minute, and then we'll get started here. Alright, cool. Okay, so I'm going to jump in. Alright guys, so firstly, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be running through, so first for us really, it's a live seminar, and we're just going to be giving you an insight into the 5-day shoemaking course that we run here at London Sneaker School. I am going to basically just present to you and run you through the whole thing, why we're here, like how we got started, and any questions you have, just throw them in the chat. And at the end, I'll get to those. And yeah, also, yeah, feel free as I'm just going along, throw your question in. I'm not going to look at the comments, because if I'm looking at comments, my ADHD will kick in. I'll start reading that. I'll get distracted. It will throw me off. But I'm just going to run through this little presentation that we have here. And yeah, let's jump in. Okay, so the 5-day shoemaking course, if you don't know, we spend 5 days teaching you how to make a pair of Jordan 1s, of Air Max 1s, Dunk SBs, Air Jordan 1s, and we've also got the Louis Vuitton Air Force 1 that we're doing in August. And we spend 5 days teaching you how to make a pair of those. You leave with a pair that you've made yourself. You select from our wide range of leather. You select your design, and we teach you how to make shoes. So that's the premise of the course. We spend 5 days doing that. We run from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Sometimes we stay a little bit longer if anyone's like visiting London, but that's the course, and I'm going to run you through basically the whole process, the curriculum, and kind of what our teaching methods and processes are. Okay, cool. So jumping in, let me just check if you guys are still with me. Samantha Edwards, what's going on? Weekly regular, Ali, Deli, Bart, Div Kid, what's going on, man? Alright, cool. Sounds like you're all hearing me loud and clear. Okay, so we started, alright, jumping in with the bold statements. We started London Sneaker School because we believe to a certain extent the sneaker industry is broken, and we want to change this. You know, we'd like to think we're going to change the sneaker industry, but at least for ourselves as footwear designers, shoemakers, fans of sneakers, fans of the culture, we want to change it to make it more interesting for us at the end of the day. If we go on and we have a wider effect, brilliant. But really, like, I feel like a lot of you, if you are into trainers, you'll be familiar with some of these problems. You know, I think I'll just touch on them quickly. Like, we've got the manufactured scarcity from big brands. Basically, like I don't want to get too nostalgic, but back in the day, the scarcity was a lot more organic, and it wasn't as manipulated. And shoes would sell out just because they sold out, and demand, they were sold to demand. But now it's very much manufactured and engineered, and if you can't buy a shoe, that's on purpose. these bigger brands, they don't want you to get those latest releases that you want. And if you are buying it, you either got lucky or you got it for a reseller who are adding a little bit on top, so you're paying a premium rate from it. And they're likely, let's see if this works. Okay, cool, I can draw on there. And then the resellers, yeah, look at this, it's like a proper lecture. Alright, so the resellers are using the bots, so it massively decreases your chances of buying what you want. You're not going to beat the bots. And really this whole thing is controlled by like a big monopoly of brands. You've got the big four, you've got Nike, Adidas, Puma, not so much these days. New Balance definitely jumped up there. And who would the fourth one be? Was it Reebok? But really it's Nike and Adidas, if anything. And then, more recently, over the last few years, we're getting content shoes. For me, like Mischief, I actually do love them. I love that they take the piss out of the whole thing. I think they really highlight that this whole thing is broken to some extent. But they make art out of it. Like, I like what they do. But the big red shoe, a lot of shoes you'll see, they'll just be content releases. There'll be photoshops. So not to be massively cynical about it, but really like we feel like there's an opportunity to change things, because from people that we chat to, we just know a lot of people are fatigued with this. And even today, I haven't read the article properly, but there's reports of Nike trying to work out how they can innovate around this. Back in 2015, I want to say, when they started the collaboration model with Virgil Abloh, that was really the start of a new model for Nike, a new innovation model in which they'd partner with quite micro celebrities or fashion designers. They'd partner with them, and they would use their audience and create a shoe, and it worked very well, of course, and that's kind of been their model for a long time. But yes, today, something's going on here. But today, that's kind of running dry. People kind of a little bit tired of that. So this is why we started London Sneaker School, and really our goal to change all of that is to make, let me zoom out a little bit here, is to make footwear manufacture or shoemaking more accessible. Currently it's very inaccessible. You've either got factories on the other side of the world. Companies are trying to cut their profits as much as they can, so they'll put them in places where they can get a bigger profit margin, such as today it's typically Vietnam for the big American brands. You'll see some shoemaking in Thailand, China traditionally, but less so these days. In Europe, in Europe it's you're looking at Portugal and Spain. And unless you're living in these cities, you're living close by, you probably don't know someone that has made shoes or has any knowledge of making shoes. In the UK, USA, manufacturers being totally stripped out. So it just really makes this whole thing very inaccessible. And actually, shoemaking and the techniques we teach, they're not that far removed of how you make shoes in a factory. Many factories that are mass manufacturing, they will invest in heavy machinery to make the whole process quicker. But actually, these processes are the same. And even when Jordan 1s came out, I'm pretty certain they were board lasted, which is what we teach you on the course. Today they've invested in machines to make that faster, and none of us are ever going to own those. But really, we want to teach you skills that you can take away and take home, and a lot of that is using hand tools and using techniques that have been used in shoemaking for a very long time, for hundreds of years. So again, another thing is supply chains are set up for large volume. So if any of you make shoes or are in the footwear industry, it's very hard to get anything in terms of materials, outsoles, if you're not talking thousands of units. The whole supply chain is set up for large volume. That the reason is, if you're running a footwear company, you want your profit margins high. It means you need to make tens of thousands of shoes to make profit. And really, it's quite difficult. So a big part of what we're doing here is making supply chains more accessible. It's secretive for a reason. So these companies, they have their technology, like Nike Air, like Nike Zoom, design the whole process. Designers, developers, from your suppliers. It can be quite secretive within companies because they don't want other companies to get the upper hand. And for that reason, I used to be a footwear designer, and it's quite a close knit community for these reasons. That if you've got a new process that's using 3D printing, you kind of want to keep it on the hush-hush. You don't want another company getting wind of that. So yeah, it's very secretive, very competitive. And fourthly, the shoes, unfortunately the shoes today that we do spend so much money on, they're very cheaply made. They're very smartly made, in which they've just been optimized. Oh, wait a minute, my charger's going to run out. Hang on, just give me one moment. I'm going to plug my charger in. Should have done that. Yeah, the shoes are cheaply made. Alright, cool, I'm back. The shoes are cheaply made. They're full of plastic and synthetics. And yeah, like if you're a shoemaker and you cut into these shoes, you start taking them apart. It's actually amazing to see the corner, I must say corners that have been cut, but the engineering that's gone into them to cut profits as much as they can. But as a product, these are really athletic shoes that are designed to be worn for 3 months by an athlete, basketball player, runner, and then thrown away, or then you get a new pair. These aren't products made to last. And like if you have a pair from 10 years ago and your EVA sole is crumbling or turning yellow, you're seeing white. These are technologies made for athletes. So again, like these shoes aren't made to last. So that's sort of what we're trying to solve here. This is our big problem around shoemaking. It's just simply inaccessible. So this is why we set up London Sneaker School and also our 5-day shoemaking masterclass course. So if you attend, you will hand make a pair of Jordan 1s, Dunk SBs, Travis Scott Lows, Air Force 1s. You can select your course when you're booking. You'll learn traditional cordwainer techniques. So we cut no corners. We're not just trying to teach you like the easiest and best way to make a Jordan 1. We want to teach you shoemaking skills that are transferable to other shoes, not just trainers. We want you to know the fundamentals. So while you might be very passionate about the Travis Scott Low, our goal is to just give you those shoemaking skills that when you leave the course, you're making shoes and you come to a new shoe or you come to a different style of shoe, these processes are familiar. And even if you're in a factory, you can talk to a developer, you can talk to a factory, and you understand the technicals behind patterns and underlays and all these sort of things, and you really know the details. And you haven't just learned a process for making a Jordan. We're teaching you shoemaking here. And then you get one-on-one learning in a real shoemaking factory. So there's production work being done here by my business partner Thomas Rowe, who runs Footwear for Film. I'll get into that in a bit. But while you're here, you'll experience some of that. It's happening on the other side of the room, and we are set up as a mini factory, a low volume factory. And then, as I mentioned, you'll be learning transferable shoemaking skills. Many of our students want to continue this. I'd say majority of them want to continue this after the course at home, and this is what we've got in mind. We want to give you the skills so when you leave, you're ready to just jump in. We recommend to a lot of our students, like, keep all of that information and muscle memory fresh. Just start making straight away as soon as you get home. Buy your leather, start cutting, get your pattern pieces. Keep it going so you can keep all those learnings fresh. But again, transferable shoemaking skills. This is what we want to teach you guys. Okay, and that's our course. I'm just gonna move this on. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna zoom out, literally, and I'm gonna talk about some of our students that have done our course and gone on to other things. Let's see. Okay, we're moving here. All right, so this is Lux, Sales by Design. He joined us just last year around Christmas time. He flew in from Toronto. This was the first pair of shoes that he ever made, this pair of Air Max 1s on our Air Max 1 course. He was a customizer previously, and by day he was a UX designer, worked in tech. So he had a creative background, but he knew he wanted to get into something different, as a pastime, but with bigger ambitions as well. And Lux has gone back to Toronto, and he now runs a space offering customization workshops, sip and paint workshops, and I do know he's continuing with shoemaking, and he does plan to offer shoemaking services and maybe courses in that space as well. So he's really gone on within just over 6 months, and he's already got set up and doing really well. Then we've got Stella. So Stella does some crazy stuff. Stella actually has done 2 courses, and on her second course, she took the Jordan 1 pattern and she wanted to mix it up a little bit. We really we do a lot of shoes here, so when someone does want to challenge us, within the constraints, if we can do it, we'll do it. Stella had made a pair before, so we felt confident she could do that. She's also very talented. This is what she does day to day. She makes these, I don't even want to say custom. This is like artwork. She creates these sort of like sculptures out of shoes that represent some aspect of the culture. And I don't think she made this pair, as in this isn't a pair of shoes she made. They're customized, but I'm sure her shoemaking skills feed into that. Then we got Scarab Soul. Shout out Nathan. So Nathan was on one of our first courses and runs a brand called Scarab Souls, where he sells bespoke reconstructions such as this coffee pair that he's done. And I do know from day one Nathan had plans to start a brand, a separate brand to Scarab Souls that he's going to launch this year. If you go follow him, you'll get he's reporting on it and like he's teasing it. Like I haven't even seen the shoe yet, so he's being top secret about it. But he's got that coming out soon. But really, like he got there by starting with these Jordan 1s. He started shoemaking. He then started making his own pair, and now he's chatting to factories. He's got his samples coming, and his brand will be out there soon. Who else have we got? So we've also got Danny. So Danny, if you join our courses, Danny will probably be teaching as well. Danny was on one of our first courses, maybe the same as Nathan actually. Might be in our second or third course. He's gone on, and after a couple of years, he's creating like crazy pairs. He started a brand called Kicking Off. I know he's done some brand collaborations, and he's got an embroidery machine, so he does some like crazy stuff. He does some crazy stuff with this as well. Hang on, wait, these guys. Oh yeah, these guys are interrupting me. I know he does some like crazy stuff with the embroidery machines. He's also got he uses a lot of suede for his colorways, which I think is pretty sick. And then last but not least, we've got Sam. So Sam did one of our early courses. He's also taught here a bit. He's a graduate from LCF doing footwear design. He's gone on to work in the footwear industry, and he works at a company called No Two Ways. And this recent release they just did, which is really sick. This is actually Sam's first design for the company. So he's taking his shoemaking skills, and I do know when he was started there, his shoemaking and customization and everything he was doing there really played into their content strategy and really like separated him from other footwear designers. So yeah, well done Sam, and congratulations on getting this shoe to market with No Two Ways. That's a really sick shoe. If you haven't seen it yet, they just dropped it the other day, I think. So yeah, just a few of our ex-students, our alumni. I'll show you some more in a bit, but it's more to highlight the different paths people have taken, from selling bespoke pairs, Nathan starting his own brand, Sam working in the footwear industry, Stella making sneaker art, and then Lux running services, customization workshops, shoemaking workshops, and that sort of thing. So yeah, let me just check who's with me. All right, cool. Are we all here? Yeah, like as I said, guys, like just post any questions you have as I go. I'm just chatting on right now, but just post them in the YouTube, and I'll get back to them at the end. Okay, so London Sneaker School, how we started. So this is the team here. This is myself, Jase. I haven't even said my name. I'm Jase. This is Thomas. He's wandering around distracting me. Yeah, you can say hey. Thomas is here.
Hello.
So he's wandering around making some shoes. We've got Ish as well, who's also wandering around somewhere. And so we're London Sneaker School. Myself and Thomas started this during lockdown, at the kickoff of lockdown. My background is in footwear design originally. I'm a designer, originally footwear design. I later moved into industrial design and then design in tech. These days I just say I'm a designer, creative director of London Sneaker School. Did shoe stuff, footwear design stuff at Salomon, some footwear at Speedo. Nike stuff, I actually did graphics, even working with companies like Jaguar Land Rover. Thomas, he also runs a company, Footwear for Film. See you later, man. He also runs a company, Footwear for Film. So Footwear for Film, basically they make shoes for film. A lot of Hollywood productions such as Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel, Disney stuff, anything. It seems to be anything that comes through the UK that's a Hollywood production, film production or stage production. Thomas is probably working on it, and Thomas has been making shoes for what, 13?
Yeah, probably about 13 or 14 years. 13 years.
It has to be, because when I said we started London Sneaker School, I would say it's 10 years, and it's been about 3 years. So Thomas has been making shoes for like 13 years. I met him about, I want to say 8 years ago, and he taught me how to make shoes. I had the ambition at the time of starting my own shoe brand. I wanted to get back into footwear. I kind of wanted to do it on my own terms and do a brand that was a bit more sustainable. I kind of got jaded of the footwear industry when I was working in it, just doing shoe after shoe after shoe. So I knew I wanted to get back in it on my terms. I didn't have the money, the capital to launch a brand. You're talking like 50,000, 100K to launch a footwear brand properly as a business. But I did have a feeling that, you know, if Thomas could teach me, I could start getting samples out, start prototyping, put them in front of retailers, start building an audience. That happened, I think, about a 2-year process, and you know, the brand was running. We had some orders in. I did British showrooms at Fashion Week. From that, got some retailers, some prestigious retailers in Paris and London. They were lined up. Then COVID hit. Those buyers freeze buy-in. Thomas films weren't filming. I had other clients, and that work froze. And both myself and Thomas was sitting around thinking. I think it was a catalyst because I was working for Nike at the time, and I was like, should we teach people how to make trainers, how to make the shoes that people want today? Taking Thomas's traditional shoemaking methods across a whole range of shoes, from trainers to like these crazy like shoes that he's done for Frozen, the musical here. Taking his knowledge, taking my knowledge from working at Nike at the time, and my footwear design and brand and marketing, and starting London Sneaker School, and that's what we did. You know, and it was for a while, it was an experiment, and it just took off. I didn't go back to my brand; this just took over. Maybe one day, but for me and Thomas, it was always about giving people the skills to start their own brands and also profit themselves from sneaker culture. And really to democratize it and disrupt it in a way. You know, those things that I touched on earlier about how the sneaker industry is broken. Myself, I got into footwear through basketball and just sketching when I was younger. I just sketch shoes all day, play basketball. Thomas was a skater, a pro skater, which influences his music and fashion. And, you know, we came from this place where independent grassroots brands were really important to us as teenagers, and influencing our sort of interactions and in culture and its impact on us. You know, see, we wanted to make a brand that allowed people to also do that, create these independent brands, and also create one ourselves. So, you know, we do have plans to launch our own shoe and invest and incubate other footwear brands as we move forward with London Sneaker School. So that is why we're here today. That's a little bit of background. Ish joined us about 1.5 years ago, I think. Ish is a customizer, and he works for London Sneaker School and also Footwear for Film interchangeably. And yeah, if you're on a course, you'll be seeing Ish as well. So that's us. That's the LSS team. Okay, and as I really just touched on there, our goal is to give you the skills, knowledge, and community to handmade sneakers. We're really focused on giving you these skills so you can continue at home, giving you the knowledge so you can take like the stuff we're teaching you here, apply it to your home workshop, knowing what machine to buy, knowing if you can't afford a skiver, which is quite expensive, how to skive by hand. If you don't have a sanding machine, how to use a Dremel and sand your shoe. And really, our goal is to start you on your shoemaking path, wherever that might be. You might want to start your brand, you might want to enter the footwear industry, you might just want to start a new craft, you know, as a new pastime, or maybe you're a customizer and you want to level up your skills. So really that's it, starting a brand, building your portfolio, and starting your shoemaking path. Okay, cool, let's get into, so this little thing. So you'll hear me banging on about this thing, especially as we at London Sneaker School start to invest in independent brands, including our own, and starting our own shoe. And this whole thing really represents my journey and meeting Thomas and starting London Sneaker School together, and really what we see as an opportunity and process for anyone that wants to start a sneaker brand and they're broke, as in they don't have 50k or 100k, which I'm sure is all of you. If not, I'm jealous. But the idea is, and I took this from the tech industry, and this is a process for starting businesses with minimal cost, mostly software businesses. It's called minimum viable product. We're applying this to sneakers. The idea is, if you start here at the top, you start with your ideas, your designs. If you then learn and know how to make them, you then have a sneaker. You can then put that out in the world. You can post it to your socials, you can share it with your friends. You can then measure your feedback to see what their response is. Do they hate it? Do they rate it? Do you like it? Would they buy it? You start surveying, even just like, you know, just naturally in conversation. You'll then learn about that. You'll learn what works, you'll learn what doesn't. You'll then repeat the cycle. Those learnings will go back into your ideas. You'll then make a new pair, you'll then make a new sneaker. And the idea is, if you start this from day one, you might be a bad shoemaker because it might be your beginning. and it might take you a year to get to the point where you're making the pairs that you're proud of. But if you share it as early as possible, people will still support you. They'll support your journey. You'll be building an audience of like early advocates. And if you land on a design that hits, and you never know in social media, sometimes things can just go crazy. You've got an audience there you can start selling shoes to. You can go to a retailer with your prototype. You can go to an investor, so you've got your audience ready. You can go to a bank, and you've really got a de-risk business case there. So we call this minimum viable sneaker, and this is relevant to you if you're interested in starting a new brand. But really, we see it as making shoes a scrappy, lean way to do that, without investing massively on tooling, on factory work, on development work. It's going to cost you tens of thousands. This route, is going to cost you way less. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a lifetime skill of making shoes and making something, which really is what you want to be doing it for, is really just enjoying the process and being a shoemaker and being a creative in that sense, and everything else is a bonus. But this is our process in terms of starting new brands and how you can use shoemaking to do that. So minimum viable sneaker. Okay, this is my very professionally drawn pathway into footwear and where shoemaking might take you. We find that people that come here that want to learn to make shoes, want to learn to make trainers, sneakers, they either want to do one of four things. They want to start a brand, as I said. They'll start their prototype, they'll grow their audience, they'll build their brand. Or they want to get into the footwear industry. So they can use this project here that they do here, the shoemaking skills they learn, to build their portfolio. You'll have a project where you've gone through the full development of a shoe, you know how to construct it, you know the processes that a factory will take to make it. And that'll be a solid portfolio piece to help you in your career in footwear, which could either be a footwear designer, a footwear developer, which if you don't know what that is, I'd say it's an engineer. They work hand in hand with the designer. They'll take the design and they'll develop it, and they'll turn it into patterns, and they'll get the prototypes made. And really if you're a shoemaker, you're going to be a combination of these. You're going to be a designer and developer. This is what we call it in the footwear industry, in if you're a designer, and before the manufacturing starts outside the factory. But if you're a shoemaker, you're doing both of these things. And then maybe even marketing, maybe something less hands-on. These skills can contribute to that. It can just show your passion to companies, give you a deep insight into sneakers and into footwear, and it'll help you stand out amongst your peers when securing those jobs in footwear. Thirdly, we've got leveling up your customs. A lot of our students are customizers. They want to get into bespoke reconstructions to sell them at a premium price, because these are handmade products that do take time with quality levers. So it can be like a premium high-end offering of their custom services that they do, and then they'll go on to create bespoke shoes. We see people that come down this path and then invest in it and keep doing it. They'll get to the point after a year, I want to say, if they consistently make them, where they feel their shoes are good enough to sell. Some sooner. We've seen some people in 3 months create pairs that are really solid. I'll show you some in a minute. And then the fourth one is invest in a craft. I'd say this is the most important one, and this is something for all of these that you want to be thinking about, and you want to do shoemaking because you want to invest it in the craft. Invest in being a good shoemaker. This is a skill that you'll learn for a lifetime. You can always make trainers for yourself, for your friends and family. And really, if you enjoy this bit, then the rest of this stuff will come in some way or another. If you're, I always say, any creative, if you just invest in just enjoying that process and not focusing too much on your brand blowing up or getting that dream job. These are sort of the North Stars we're aiming for, but at the end of the day, you have to start somewhere. And if you just invest in this craft and this process, this is a very important part of it as well. So there you go. If you're not one of these four, please tell me, because we have a lot of students come through. I'm always interested on the path they're gonna take, and we'll advise them when they're on the course. So if you're not one of these four, tell me what you're interested in getting from this, because I kind of wanna hear about it. So feel free to throw that in the chat. I'll just make sure that we're still good. I hope it's not too laggy. I'm on a Figma right now. It seems to be okay. Okay, I'll continue. Cool. So this is the pathways you can take with shoemaking, and yeah, this is our 5-day shoemaking course. And these are the courses that we have coming up this summer. We've got the Jordan 1 High in July, late July, the 85 version. On August the 7th, we've got the Travis Scott Low, and we've got the Dunk SB. If you're on that course, you'll have students doing both. And then new for 2023, we have the Air Force One Louis Vuitton version. People often ask us, like, which one, like, will they learn the most from? Really, I would just say, like, a lot of this stuff is interchangeable per shoe. Pick the style that you prefer, that you'd wear. You'll learn everything you need to learn on the course. There are small differences, but I would just focus on picking. I couldn't say which one you'd learn more on. They're all very similar, and we do offer online courses. If you ever need a top up, or most of our students go away and they don't just stick on one shoe. They have the skills and the knowledge they need to just transfer onto another shoe quite easily. I wouldn't worry about that so much. So these are courses coming up, and this is what you'll learn. It's 5 days. It's intensive. You're gonna learn a lot. These are the high level bits. You're gonna be learning how to use patterns. Patterns are the 2D shapes that we use that make up the 3D shoe. I've got half a Air Jordan 4 here, but these are the pieces that we draw around and then cut out of leather. You'll be learning the technicals around those, such as underlays, how to use them, the fitting points, lasting allowance. You'll be learning about patterns. You'll be learning about leather and materials, what leather to use. Shopping for leather at the beginning of shoemaking can be difficult. You'll walk into a leather store, it's like being a kid in like a candy store. Like, you'll be like, I want this, but actually, like, not a lot of leather is suitable for footwear, especially if you're in places like UK where footwear isn't really made. You really want to go to a leather supplier that does supply for footwear companies. It needs to be of a certain thickness. It needs to be a certain integrity to it in terms of it can't be too stiff. It can't be too soft and stretchy. We also teach you about materials that are inside the shoe, the inner components, such as the ones you can't see, like the toe stiffener, counter stiffener, the wadding and foams. You'll learn about the lining materials such as nappa leather, which differ to the upper leather. And then we'll get into skiving. Skiving is where you take your leather, and if there's an edge that overlaps, you need to skive the edge, just bevel the edge. We use skiving machines here. We'll teach you how to do that at home. And all of these things, if there is some sort of machinery involved, we teach you how to do those things in your home workshop with hand tools. Lasting is a process we'll spend a whole day on. Lasting is when you take your upper and you're pulling it over your shoe last. For a lot of people, it's one of the more challenging parts of the course because it's a very new skill. Stitching, maybe some of you have done, or you can imagine what a sewing machine is like. Lasting it's a completely new process for pretty much 99% of people that are on the course. We'll teach you outsole removal. So on our courses, and we always recommend this to students if they're selling these shoes, especially, we buy original pairs of Nike and we use the outsole and we take the upper off and we use the upper on. We can either resole it or cut it and use it for pieces. But an important part of that is if you ever do get into problems with this, and I don't know anyone that has, but this just makes it custom. It's not a rep. It's not a bootleg. It's a custom. You've bought the shoe and you're repurposing it. It's something new. Think of it like doing up a car. It keeps the big brands happy. You're buying their product, and it's always important that you're not communicating that you are that brand. Of course, if you're showing the shoemaking process, it'll be obvious and evident. But yeah, we'll teach you how to take the outsoles off. We'll teach you stitching, how to use an industrial post-bed sewing machine, which is what we use here at the workshop. We'll run you through how to use one of those. These machines are designed and made for footwear. They're used in factories. You'll be using these throughout the course, and we'll teach you how to stitch your uppers on those. And as you do that, we're teaching you the upper assembly. So as you can imagine, to make a pair of these trainers, there's hundreds of steps. We'll use a teaching aid that we have is our shoemaking handbook, which we teach you with these step-by-step instructions. So we couldn't really give you this book and you would know how to do it. It's not that extensive, but as you can see, there's so many steps. and we'll run you through those step by step, and the whole class will go through that step by step. We'll do the upper assembly. Yeah, that's the one I mentioned. We'll do design and colorways. So of course you're going to design your own pair of Jordans, whatever it might be, out of our wide selection of leathers. We'll teach you our process for designing, how we color block the shoe. It's up to you. You can design it in any way you want. But we find like often people, there's so many choices, they get stuck. So we'll help you with making those decisions and how we visualize these things. And then we'll get into what your shoes lasted. We'll get into attaching the outsoles, our process for that, so you can secure a good bond with the shoemaking glue that we use. And this is just touching on all this stuff quite high level. We get into a lot of detail, and within this there's so many little things to teach you. One of the main things I keep mentioning is just you go away and you can continue this stuff at home, and you know how to do this. So that's what you'll learn on the course. That's our sort of shoemaking curriculum. So why LSS? Like, why do a shoemaking course with us? So firstly, I haven't mentioned that our classes are really small. It tends to be 4 to 6 people, and we tend to have 2 to 3 teachers at one time. So it's nearly one-on-one. Like there's typically 2 students per teacher. You get a lot of time with us, myself, Ish, Danny, Thomas. We'll be helping you throughout the way. We'll be jumping on your shoe if you get stuck. This isn't a class of like 30 people and we'll just like go at it. It's very much hands-on learning. We use traditional shoemaking methods, as I mentioned before. We use like transferable shoemaking skills that you can apply to other shoes, that you can then if you go to a factory, that you'll be familiar with it. This isn't just a process on how to make a pair of Jordans. We don't really cut any corners here. We teach you the traditional way, from the traditional way to hand last a pair of shoes, to the traditional English way to use a clicking knife and cut leather, which is actually a process that they don't do anywhere else in the world. It's an English traditional shoemaking method. We have an unlimited selection of premium leathers for you to design your shoe with. We've got a wide range, suedes, like literally so much to choose from mostly from Euro leathers in Northampton, and we'll also give you our suppliers where we get those from if you're in the UK. And if you're not from the UK, from Europe or the US, we can help you. We know a few, but yeah, obviously we get our leather from the UK. We'll spend the first day and a half on a practice upper. A lot of people are like, can you shorten the course? I can't get the time, but teaching you how to, like, making shoes is difficult, and 5 days we're cramming a lot in, and we spend the first day and a half on a practice upper. And for us that's really important, because we see the skill level of our students from Monday just rapidly increase when they get to Wednesday and they're on their final pair. So on the practice upper, it's your chance to get used to the machines, get familiar with the workshop, cutting level with a knife. It's your chance to make mistakes. We believe it to be essential in shoemaking. Making a mock-up is a really important part of the process, even for an experienced shoemaker that's been doing it for a long time. Things change from leather to leather. If you're making a new pattern, you have to do a tester, you have to do your mock-up. So we'll spend the first day and a half doing that. It'll give you a chance to get those mistakes out, so you don't have to sweat it too much about jumping on the machine with your final pair. I call it a shoemaking bootcamp because it is intensive. It will take a lot from you, from energy. There's a lot of standing up. That's not to put you off. That's more just like, it's still a lot of fun, but you'll be learning a lot in this short amount of time. We really do cram it in. A lot of people ask me like, what's better, this course or the online one? It's hands down this one, because it is so intensive and hands-on. Shoemaking is very physical, tactile. Just being in the room, seeing it, asking us questions, it's hard to beat. And as I mentioned, you'll be in a shoe factory. You'll be here at London Sneaker School. Footwear for Film will be going on. We've got Glide Soles over there who make outsoles in the workshop as well. We've got customizers, fashion designers. There's a whole little creative community going on here, and it is a shoe factory. You'll learn how to make it home. So we're invested in teaching this skill so you can carry this on. And also we're here afterwards to stay in touch. We're here to help. Many of our students do. They come back. They hang out when we have like open days or parties. They're in the Discord DMing us, and we always do give a bit more time to the students that have come through the course. We know them personally. Like, these are small courses. It's It's our community, and yeah, we do encourage people to stay in touch and be a part of that, whether they're in London or on the Discord. Cool. Let's see. All right, people are still with me. Boski Lebo, what's going on? Hola. Yeah, it's good to see we've got some people that have done the course. So Ola did our recent course with us. Okay, I'm going to jump back in. Okay, so if you've got any fears about never having done shoemaking before, all of our I want to say like 90%, 95% of our students have never made a shoe before. Most of them haven't even stitched. That isn't a problem at all. Our courses are very beginner friendly, and if you are a shoemaker, if you're an intermediate, you'll probably pick up some new things here. You know, shoemaking from shoemaker to shoemaker can be different. There's a lot of different processes out there. I'm sure there's plenty you'll pick up here as well. But yeah, if you go on our website and you look at the shoes that students have made, I'm pretty sure everyone on the website is a beginner. So yeah, very beginner friendly. Installment payments are available. We know it's an investment of your money. We know it can be hard for some people, so we are a small team, a small company, and we do try and make it as accessible as possible. So you know, if you do have a situation that you prefer, all we ask is a £500 deposit, and the rest we'd like to set up a monthly installment for it. Just makes it simpler for us. But if you have a different sort of circumstance, just send us an email. We can be flexible. All we ask is for that £500 deposit, and then also that everyone's paid up before the course starts, just so it's fair for everyone. Yeah, and then as I mentioned, if you're wondering about this course and our online courses or other online courses, you can't be hands-on learning. I'd recommend, even though we do run online courses, I'd recommend it over those. I'd say the online course is a good place to start. If you're not sure, if you haven't done it before and you're not sure if you want to get into it and you've got time to chip away at it, if you're ready, you want to jump in and maximize. If time is money, maximize your time and learn as quickly as possible. You'll learn 10x more, maybe more on the London course. It's hard to beat when comparing it to an online education for something that is so craft based. So shoemaking is a trade. It's very hands on. So yeah, if you've got any other questions around stuff like this, throw them in the comments. I'll get to them at the end. What time are we on? All right, 42. Cool. Okay. So yeah, if you haven't seen in the emails that I was sending around, and you're not familiar with the price of our course, it's $1,850 for the 5-day shoemaking course. We have got an offer like for everyone that's in the seminar right now, that's available for 48 hours. You can save £300. And look at my maths. Look, I'm a designer, shoemaker. My maths are bad. That should be $1,550. It's £300 off. It's available for 48 hours for the first 5 spots that book on. I'll share the discount code in a bit, or if you check in the descriptions down below on YouTube, I've put the discount code in there. I'll share that in a bit though. So this is our course price. We do make sure we do want to make shoemaking as accessible as possible. We do know this is an investment for people, and we do price this course very competitively with our competitors stateside and in Europe. And yeah, as mentioned, we do offer installment payments. So if you have any questions about that and you don't want to leave it in a comment, you can just email me, DM London Seeker School, and I'd be happy to help you with that. So this is our 5-day shoemaking course fee. And yeah, if you do the course, this is where you can expect to be after LSS, after your 5-day course. So you'll know how to make shoes like a shoemaker. As I mentioned, we're not just teaching you a cookie cutter process that makes it easy for us to teach. It is hard to teach a group of people how to make shoes. There's so much that can go wrong at every single step. And as a shoemaker, part of what you'll learn when you're doing this is this constant problem solving. And things always go wrong, no matter how experienced you are. So that's, we really tell people to trust the process, be positive, think like a shoemaker. And when you leave that, you'll have this mindset and you'll be making shoes with traditional shoemaking skills that you've learned on the course. You have a pair designed and made by you. You can walk out in them, selected in the leathers that you pick, come out your dream colorway that you can't buy. These will be made by you, and you can take those away. After LSS, you'll have the knowledge to continue making. If that is your plan, some people come to us, they just want the experience of being at LSS, making a handmade pair. If you want to continue, our goal is to give you those skills and the knowledge so you can do. Your questions answered, of course. Like, we find most students throughout the course are just asking us questions as we go on. They're just they're chatting to me, Ish, or Thomas, or Danny, and we're just answering your questions. We encourage you to take notes throughout the course so you remember everything. So we'll be answering all questions throughout the course, of course. Experience the Shoemaking Factory. Yeah, this is a unique learning classroom. It's a Shoemaking Factory. You'll be here. We're based in Hackney, near Stoke Newington Station, and you'll be networking with like-minded shoemakers. So a lot of our students, even from other courses, they'll link up on Instagram or in the Discord. They'll come back. They'll come to our open days, and you'll network with people that are getting into footwear, getting into shoemaking, and doing things a little bit differently. They're not just becoming a footwear designer, a footwear developer. They actually want to make the shoe, whether they're a customizer or they want to start their own brand. So meeting with those like-minded people is like one of the perks of the job for us, and just that community that is building around LSS. It gets bigger with every course we do, and you will have started your footwear journey. It can be intimidating getting into this. It can be more difficult than other sort of things that you might want to do, whether that might be starting a fashion brand, screen printing. This is a lot more of an investment of your time and your money, and you'll be on your footwear journey. I'm always interested to hear like what people want to get out of this course. So during the course, after the course, like, we're here to help you with that however we might be able to. So okay, that's after LSS. Moving on. So you also get some other things, just a few little perks. So also included in the course, you get the shoemaking booklet, which I mentioned, which also like includes like loads of information about, like, if you can see this, but like this is like what sewing machine to get, pros and cons of getting a post bed versus a more affordable heavy duty. You've got stuff you can get from our shoemaking shop. You've just got like, there's a checklist in here of everything you need to buy at home. We've got the shoemaker equipment checklist. So you get a copy of this. You'll get a pair of lasts. You'll get the online course, access to the online course for the shoe you're doing, and you'll get a pair of patterns. So you're really set up here. There's about £500 in total. All that stuff to just continue making shoes. And yeah, any questions on any of that, just give us a shout. All right, cool. So yeah, as mentioned, these are the upcoming dates for this summer. Any questions on the shoes, leave them in the comment, or any questions on the dates. As mentioned, we got that £300 discount for open for 48 hours for 5 spots. We find that if there's a shoe, so there's a couple spots left on all of these. If a shoe is taken and you really, really want to do it, speak to us. We like to keep everyone on the same shoe, the same course, but if it is a big problem for you for whatever reason, just give us a shout. Maybe there's something we can do. Maybe not for the Air Force One, because that'll be our first time running this course, but for the others, we've made these hundreds of times. So yeah, let me know if that's the case, if a course sells out. So yeah, these are our upcoming dates. And then how to book. So if you don't know, head to londonsneaker.school. You can select your course, just click enroll. You'll go through a little onboarding. We'll just ask you a couple questions. On this bit here, this is the final stage before checkout. If you're interested in installments, just click this tab. If not, you can pay in full. There is a small discount for paying in full of £100. Paying installments fee is £1,950. Just to help with the admin fees. Feel free to email me if you've got questions about paying in installments and want to know how to set that up, or you've got an installment plan in mind that would work for you. All you need to do is just pay the £500 deposit just to secure your spot. It is worth, I do need to make note that if you're applying the discount on installments, the discount will be on the actual installments, not the deposit. The deposit will be £500. Just wanna make that clear. But we'll make sure we'll get your discount in for the installment payments that we do later, or just save the £100 and just pay in full if you can. Okay, cool. Before I wrap it up and get to your questions, So yeah, get those questions ready if you got any. I just want to share this as some previous students of ours. Really like we're lucky here. Like this is a very fun job with people, very like-minded people that we get to teach, and like to go to see all these guys go on and make these shoes. Like it's very sick to see, to start their own brands. We've got Jani here, who shortly after doing the course moved to Mumbai. He's making shoes out there. Made this crazy watermelon pair while he was here. He spent some time with us in the workshop. We've got Nathan Scarab Souls, who also does teach on our courses now and then. He's starting his new brand this year. Be on the lookout for that. And he does some crazy reconstructions as well. We got Danny kicking off, who you saw before. He's some more of his embroidery designs. We've got Lab Customs Lamar, who's in South London. We've got Nathan, who's local as well. He's in Hackney. Lamar's in South London. He's even done a pair of Yeezys. He's done a lot of Air Max 1s and lately doing a lot of Jordan 4s. We've got Damon, who's local, was on our first course. Very talented craftsman. He can do anything, Damon, actually. But yeah, he's become a good friend of ours. He's making some pairs of Air Forces lately and some Travis Scotts. We've got Aris, who flew over from Switzerland. This was a guy, Aris, like after 3 months he got home, got set up, got his machine. 3 months, he was making these pairs, like really, really good pairs. Aris was only 17. I think he's 17 years old. Just I didn't mention that if anyone's got the question, but in terms of the age limit, our youngest student has been 14, and one of our best students as well. People always ask if the student is young, can they do it? But we find often that they're some of the best. Aris killed it. We got Troy, who was on one of our first courses, and also J-Bap in South London as well. I just wanted to share with you some of these shoes these people have gone on to make, because they're all killing it in different ways as well. They're all bringing their own style and putting their own stamp on it, which is very cool to see. Okay, so it's pretty much it. That's it. So book in the next 48 hours. Save that £300 for the first 5 spots. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I did write it down. This is the code. So when you get to the checkout process, there'll be a coupon code. Just put that in there. Just make it 01, no spaces. It's also written down in the description. Give me a shout if you've got any problems. You can email me at info@londonsneaker.school or just DM us on Instagram. You'll get through to me. I'm gonna switch to the comments right now to see if anyone's said anything and to see if you guys are still here. All right, cool. People have stayed. Chatting to no one. I've got Thomas here if I can't answer any of these as well. Okay, so let me run through these. Yeah, sure, come through. You got a chair?
Yeah.
You can. That's cool. We'll get a sponsor. Okay, so how long do the last? A long time.
The last, if it's a wooden last, it'll last a lot less, because generally with a wooden last, if you're going to be nailing into it, and if there's, well, depending on what your methods are, but sometimes you soak the midsole and attach it. Sometimes you need to soak the leather as well, depending what kind of leather you are using. So if there's any water added to the leather or to the midsole, then that can get into the wood and swell the wood. So, but the plastic ones that we sell, generally, I mean, I still have some of my first pairs and they're still going. So that's over 13 years.
Yeah, I'd say you don't need to worry about it for the plastic ones, which is what you'll get on the course and what we use. Hey Thomas, you can come over. You can see. You got to get cozy. So yeah, they last a long time.
Is that the screen there?
Yeah, that's what they can see.
I can't see myself.
No, but it's delayed. You'll see yourself in a second.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Weird. Okay, cool.
Okay, so Bart Judge asks, can we customize the sole? I think Ninja's cool and would like to make a pair of split toe shoes. Oh, like he's talking like the Margellas. You can do it. To do that on the course as a beginner shoemaker, there just isn't enough time. I forget the name of the person who is sick at doing that. They do it on New Balances all the time. I don't. You know the one I mean, where it's got a big toe going through.
You need a specific last for those.
Yeah. You do.
You need the last that actually has that toe piece going down. So,
I would say it's an advanced move.
Yeah, you would need, again, you wouldn't be able to use the actual sole unit as well. You'd have to make like a leather sole unit or something, but you could make a Jordan or Air Max version of that. But it would definitely take a bit of time to. You need the last that has that slit in it, like a sandal last has that as well for the thong.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
it's doable, but probably not doing a 5-day course because that's a bit more like.
Yeah, I would say if that's your goal, it's definitely one to get to reach. Can we customize the soles in other ways? Many of our students, they coffee dye them, and we can do that to give it a little bit of color. We could dye other colors as well. Most people just keep it the natural white. The Pharaoh, what's going on? Got here late. Live stream regular. Okay, sneaker restorer looking to take the restorations to another level, and then end up doing bespokes. Yeah, Paul. That's a perfect sort of case study, really, of how this skill will level up what you're already doing in sneaker restoration. You've already got a clientele, an audience that know you for that. If you can then offer and upsell bespokes or find a new clientele to do that with, a new revenue stream, it makes total sense. And I think being a sneaker restorer, you'll take to this naturally. We find that customizers, fashion people that make clothes, they usually take to this quite well. And I imagine with sneaker restoration, you're going to have, it's not so much the technical ability that you'll have, but you'll just have the mindset not to get like frazzled when things start to go wrong, because I'm sure when you're restoring shoes, there's a lot of pressure on, and half the battle is
I feel like I don't really know that much about customizing in that sense, but as far as like some people, when they have like, they're attaching like panels or little pieces, it's quite difficult doing that. It's a lot in my opinion, I think it's easier to start just from scratch. You start with an upper, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot easier to stitch things on and for it to look clean. And also, like, you can make, if say you have a certain panel that you want to add on, if it's like lasted underneath, it sort of like blends into the design a bit more, like naturally, rather than looking like it's been attached on. Yeah. Which is like a different look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
no, I get you completely. All right, so if we have Boski LeBeau, 5 days is barely enough to get it all done for a beginner. Ola was on our last course. It's true, we cram a lot in. Ola was on our last course, so he knows. He made a really nice pair of Travis Scott's. He's actually continuing shoemaking. Previously made bags and wallets, and is hand stitching, saddle stitching his pair. I've seen the process in the Discord. If you're in the Discord, by the way, if you're in this chat, if you're here now, you've got access to the Discord. There's a link in the description. If you go on there, you'll see Ola's Boski, aka Boski LeBeau's hand stitched pair. Paul asked, if we have our own patterns last, will this bring the overall cost down? Paul, if you have a London sneaker school last, give me a shout, because I can subtract the last cost on there if you want.
If it's someone else's, forget about it.
Yeah. If it is someone else's,
we don't use anyone else's. It's a nightmare trying to figure out how to. Yeah.
If it's someone else's, our patterns are made to our last, and even if the changes are millimeters, they can throw off the patterns. So if it's an LSS last, we can work something out. If not, I'm afraid we can't. Our patterns won't work. And also the patterns might be different. It might be a slight change. There's a lot of patterns out there on Etsy, and that someone's just taken a shoe, they've cut the pieces off, and they've just traced them. And what we've spent a lot of time doing is reverse engineering the patterns so they're suitable for hand making shoes. An example is the lining. Most sneakers they're only they've only got the counter lining in at the back. If you look inside the shoe, in the front of it, it's just synthetic. There's no lining on it. That's just a cut cost thing, and that makes it like a very low quality shoe. If you fully line a shoe, you've got a much higher quality shoe. So this is an example of one thing we do where we change the patterns to make them better for hand making, but also to make a better trainer. Let me know if they're LSS last. Just give me a shout in the DMs. Douglas Costa's Thursday still happening? Unfortunately not. That'll be our 10th episode. So for those that don't know, every week we do a little live stream. Douglas Costa, as many regulars I'm seeing their names. I'm on holiday tomorrow. I'm away a long weekend, so we can't do it. But we will be back next week for the 10th episode. And if anyone's in London, maybe we'll do like a little, like, we'll go to the pub after or something, come down, pop by, we can do a little meet up or something like that. It'd be fun. Molly Owen, when will the next dates to be released if we can't make current dates? To be honest, Molly, I don't know currently. We've got a couple things in the air. We've got a really big project that might be happening over the summer in terms of a retail space. I can't say too much about, but if it does happen, the future dates will be TBC. Also, Tom is about to have a baby, so things are about to get really crazy here. So I actually can't answer that right now. I would say if you can get on those summer ones, that would be best. Mr. Rowlett, what is the best thing to do if I am not from the UK and want to attend the course? I'm finding half of our students now travel from other countries.
Book yourself an Airbnb for a week somewhere relatively local, or a hotel. I don't know, like, there's lots of accommodation around here. Yeah, most people get an Airbnb, they'll get a hotel. If you send me an email, I can send you some recommendations on hotels. Some students have had luck hitting up student accommodation and getting a discounted rate, since they're technically a student here. So if you Google student accommodation around Hackney, which is where we're based, you'll find some options. If you send me an email, Mr. Rowlett, I can help you out. Jameson, sorry, kind of late. Do you know what? It's cool because for everyone that signed up, I'm going to send this back so you can watch it. So if you left early, then you're not going to hear this anyway. But I will be sending it out. Hyde Hide 2503. Are you looking for ways to make midsole by yourself so you not always need to have a donor? Think about casting or something like that. Okay, so yes and no. So yes, we are for our own shoe, and we're doing a collaboration with Glide Soles, who are in the workshop, about making our outsoles on an artisan level, low volume, because it's very difficult to do. Even going to outsole companies, they won't sell you. You can go to Vibram, but the good ones that everyone wants, they just want to sell tens of thousands of units. For making Jordans and the reconstructions and the Dunks and the Nike shoes, no, we buy an original pair. It's just a big no trying to copy their soles.
Yeah, you're basically creating a shoe from scratch here. It's best, just for us and for yourself to just buy the shoe. If cost is a concern, look at eBay. We get you fresh pairs for the course, but for pairs that we make for ourselves, we check eBay. We'll find pairs that have been worn 3 times. The outsoles are fine. You can just use those, and actually they're easier to take off.
Use connection was? Is it good?
I think it's okay. I'll pull. Yeah, I have both patterns and last from Chase Shill. Yeah, Paul, I'm afraid we won't be able to help you out there. Just the patterns might differ slightly, and the last might differ slightly. It will be a bit of a headache. I can't say, I haven't used their patterns, so I can't see how different they are. But I know they likely are. Shoemaking can vary from shoemaker to shoemaker. We all have different processes, so it'll probably be different. All right, so an hour on the dot, near enough. Jameson threw on some emojis. All right, we got. Let me see. What was the last slide I left them with? Sorry, guys. Yeah. Give me an email. If you email this, you can get through to me. If you got any more questions, I think that's it now. I think everyone's answered. Thank you for staying with us this far. I really hope this was useful and gave you an insight. I wasn't just chatting on too much. And if you do book in a course and you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. We can help you out. Hopefully we'll see you at London Sneaker School, in the workshop, making shoes and helping you get on that footwear shoemaking path. All right, take it easy. In a bit.